May the gay Eden be with you. This is Angelo here. Welcome to another video and welcome to a new style of presenting my videos. In the future, I'll be using different ways or different styles of communicating ideas. So I hope that you stay here with me on this journey of transformation. Okay, my friends, another video today that is really powerful about the gay existential crisis and about your ability to position yourself so that the relationships, the love, and all the good things that you've always been looking for are actually possible. And right now, most of us are experiencing troubles with relationships, difficulty connecting, inability to meet the right people, and all of this is making the current crisis in the world so much worse to endure. And so it's important that we reflect on this a little bit deeper. It's important that you look at the future not the same way that you used to look at the future, but instead look at it more strategically, look at it more as a way of understanding it or seeking to understand what's happening and not becoming a victim to the events that are happening all around us. And so if you don't want to become a victim, if you don't want to be always at the end of the line, then it's important that you develop a greater sense of understanding what's happening with the world and what that means. And I'd like to offer you that understanding right now in this video. And I'd like to title this, Overcoming the Gay Existential Crisis. Overcoming the Gay Existential Crisis. What I mean by that is that gay men have never left the space of crisis. And the more that you pay attention to this, the more compassion you're going to bring to yourself and the more compassion you're going to bring to the rest of the community. Gay men, for most of us, we have had difficult lives and we continually have difficult lives, and we will probably for the rest of our lives have more difficult lives. And the reason for that is not the typical reasons that you think about. So most of us think that our lives are difficult because of straight people, that they're homophobic, or they don't allow us to thrive, they don't allow us to have the relationships that we always wanted, or the sex that we always wanted. And that's not really accurate. What I've discovered is that our crisis has actually nothing to do with that. The crisis, the gay existential crisis, has to do with one thing and one thing only. It has to do with ideas. Ideas. And as someone who has now actively participated in the gay world over the past 10 years, professionally, speaking to thousands of people, shooting hundreds of videos, and getting feedback from people, and hearing their stories, I'm here to tell you that the only reason that the gay existential crisis is here to stay and has been here for so many years, it's because of the censorship of good ideas inside of our own community, inside of the LGBT community. That it's not the straight people and their attacks on homosexuality that kept us so weakened and so disempowered. It's, in fact, our own gay people, LGBT people, that suppressed great ideas that could have made a huge, huge impact in our ability to prosper with relationships, with love, with one another, and with basically everything in our lives. Because when you have good relationships, when you have someone that you trust close to you as a family member, family meaning your husband, then life becomes different. No matter what difficult things are happening, you can still be empowered and strong. The way that our existential crisis gets maintained is by our own people censoring, putting down other men that want to come out of the crowd and point out to obvious, illogical assumptions and point us into the right assumptions. Point us towards the direction that actually gives us what we've always been looking for. And I actually personally have experienced this censorship. Many of my videos are shut down at the moment when they become very popular, on Facebook especially. And I've noticed a pattern that it's not. I said to myself, okay, now I get it. We are a minority not because we are a weak minority, not because of the oppression from other people. There are forces in our own communities that are putting us down. And the closer you check in with a lot of the assumptions that you are given by the LGBT people, even your friends, you will notice that there's no logic there. Those things simply make no sense. And this is, my friends, how for the first time you can see how to get out of the gay existential crisis forever. I've left the gay existential crisis a long time ago. I used to call this the gay paradox. And now I just call it the gay existential crisis. I left it behind and I noticed how life is a little bit easier for me because of it. And because of that small difference, because it's a little bit easier, now my energy can be devoted to things that previously couldn't be devoted to. And I can grow as opposed to stay stuck psychologically, stay stuck on a relationship dimension, in one place, kind of be frozen and not be able to escape the gravity that's holding you back and keeping you inside of that existential crisis. Is what you are hearing logical? Does it make sense? Or is someone trying to share with you an idea that sounds great when you hear it, but when actually it's time to implement it, that there is something else going on here that's not fair to either other people, or it's not, doesn't make any sense on a logical way, that it sounds very strange when you hear it? I'd like for you to open your eyes, open your ears, and pay attention all around you, and you will quickly see that most of the things you're surrounded with are ridiculously illogical and unreasonable. They make no sense. They're not based on reason. That you may not even know that you're surrounded by these conflicting ideas that are imprisoning you in a weak space, that once you break through that weak space, there is a better way to live. There is a stronger way to be. There is a more ambitious way of striving for things in a way that the future is pulling you, as opposed to you always having to carry the load of living on top of your shoulders and kind of like kneeing every step that you take because you can't get up and you can't lift your ambition up and push yourself and catapult yourself to the next level. And so that's why this crisis doesn't go away for most of us, because we are carrying the load of these contradictions on our shoulders, unable to process reality, unable to understand and understand the world around us and bring in good ideas that can help us live a better quality life. And I'm here talking not just in general, I'm here talking about relationships, I'm here talking about business, about money, about all the things that are necessary to be aligned and congruent and be interconnected in a way that is clean, in a way that is easily understood, that, okay, yes, it has to be this way. I used to question it, but now I accept the fact that I was wrong and it couldn't have worked any other way but this way, and now it works. And we surrender to the way things work, to the way things are. We surrender to reality, my friends. That surrender is not optional anymore. We no longer have the room for playing games with ourselves, with other people. And you see that a lot of people still play games when they log into Grindr, when they log into all these hookup apps. You know it's a game, and you give yourself permission to enter into it. And what I'm here to tell you, if you want to exit the gay existential crisis, you got to snap out of those behaviors. You got to step outside of those triggers and those tendencies, because the reality of the world is going to be more and more complicated, and you'll have to be connected to it and be able to navigate and adapt around it, around the challenges, and still succeed. We don't want to be wasting our lives on the things that are part of a game that we play because we are acting out our habitual impulses of looking for someone who will be sexually stimulating by also sacrificing our other areas of life. It's like sacrificing our lives for a few minutes of pleasure. So we want to bring in reason, ask the question, does this make sense? Yes, I'm going to be really good at finding a total top, but I'm going to suck at finding a husband. There's a difference. A lot of people are really good at looking for total tops, but they're really bad at looking for lovers, at looking for people that are genuine and that are caring. And here, I'm inviting you to switch from the entertainment perspective and the game perspective into the legitimate perspective that produces results, that requires a little bit of sacrifice, but in turn or in exchange, you get what you always wanted. The gay existential crisis, unfortunately, will continue for most gay men because this video will be censored for them. Their friends are not going to share this video because their friends, for whatever reason, are struggling to such a degree that they don't see the white light. And because they don't see the white light for them, they don't want you to also see the white light at the end of the tunnel through which you can walk towards your ideal life. Walk towards the ideal relationships you always wanted, to retrace your ways all the way back to your innocence, to the initial conditions for what you always wanted, who you always wanted to be with, how you wanted to be loved, how you wanted to participate in the community, and awakening your motivation to build that and replace all the dysfunctional game level interactions that are so commonplace today in the gay culture. So when we talk about the gay Eden, we're not just talking here about something silly, even though for some people initially it may sound silly, but it sounds silly because people don't understand that we need a grounding on a deeper level. We need a story. We need more than one story. We need more symbols and reminders and visuals to keep us together. And that's why the idea about the gay Eden, all the tools that it will give you, in my personal opinion, also in my professional opinion, is the final frontier of personal development for the gay identity, for a gay man. It's also extraordinarily enriching. And if in the process we make relationships and connect to one another, it makes the whole experience so much more adventurous. So when we talk about the gay Eden, we are talking about a dimension of loving, of being, of existing, of connecting that is currently unavailable for most gay men. And here, by the virtue of listening to this from me, you can be reconnected with your ideals of what love and existence should be like here as a gay man on planet Earth. And the gay Eden and what it teaches you will take you there directly, and not only will take you there, but will take many other men there. And when we all get there, we can now meet in a beautiful way. We can interact in ways that transcend our troubles, transcend our difficulties right at this moment. And that is, my friends, what I believe is the final escape from the gay existential crisis that's imposed by our friends and the people in our own community that prevent us from bursting out of our container, out of the prison of the lower level primitive understanding of gay life. We have to break through that violently. We got to burst with good ideas, and those ideas take us higher, take us further, take us into the future, the final frontier of gay existence. And the gay Eden is the symbol of that. And that's why in future videos, you're going to see me talk a lot more about that, teaching you baby step at a time, the entire ecosystem of the gay Eden, including how the Big Gay Family Social Program is part of that, including a lot of the richness that will help us come together in the most beautiful way possible. Okay, my friends, I'll be finishing up this video right now. Thank you for listening. For more videos like these, please visit my website at paulangelo.com. I would love to hear your comments and suggestions. So if this is on YouTube, please post your comments, suggestions below. Otherwise, I'll see you inside the Big Gay Family Social Program. Okay, my friends, signing off. May the gay Eden be with you, my friends. I'll see you in the next video.